Welcome back to Creatives on the Couch. I'm speaking with Steve Dillon about the Refuge Collection, and along with a number of excellent authors, including yourself, involved with the Refuge Collection, there are some fantastic artists getting involved to contribute to a great cause. So if you'd like to show us some of the amazing artwork, that would be...
So we mentioned Matty Taylor, he's the local guy, he's done the cover for this one.
That's really spooky.
And we saw one of my pieces, I'm aspirational artist, so I'm an artist because I paint. It's not necessarily great. So then we have Will Jacques, is an American artist, and he's developed this very distinctive style. So this is another interpretation of the priest, from the priest tale, and actually the priest is in several of the stories.
I've met that priest.
You've met that priest. Oh, so he's the sanctimonious hypocrite is the name of that one.
Yeah, I think I know him.
And then this one, you mentioned earlier about the fighter's tale. So this is one of the illustrations for the fighter's tale.
The fighter's tale is an extraordinary story of yours, really.
Yeah, it's inspired by Lovecraft, actually. There's very much a Lovecraft mythos as well as the Egyptian mythos. It's all kind of getting embroiled in Refuge, because if you're going to go to a different country or this mythical town called Refuge, you're probably going to bring your religion with you, or your gods or your heroes with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's kind of what's happened. There's a lot of cross-cultural references, and some of which are real, the Egyptian deities, and some of which are mythological, the Lovecraftian cycles.
Yes, yes. And these pictures, these look a little bit different in style. This is much more romantic.
So this is from, it's a similar style that Will uses. This one's called Taking What She Wants. So it's the thief's tale, which you may have read. So
yes.
Flying
That's
under
quite
the radar.
a lyrical one, very pretty.
Yeah, and there's lots of symbolism. So we're doing something called the Refuge Companion as well, which gives a lot of insight into the stories, the background, the development, the plot points that people might miss when they read the stories, the characters, a little summary of the characters, and a whole section on Will's artwork.
Wow, fantastic.
Because there's so much symbolism in there.
Yeah, and some of it's quite subtle.
Yeah. Each piece is a story in itself, and it kind of tells the story without giving the story away.
Yes.
But it's also a story in its own right, which is what distinguishes art from illustration. And these are pieces of art.
Yes, and you're quite a tantalising author. You leave people not knowing.
Yeah, I like to make it so that the story's complete, but there's
room for ambiguity.
So I think of the whole collection as a tree, and the tree's growing in different directions depending on what the other writers bring to me. So we have a detective's story, the PI's tale, introduced by Paul Kane, who's a very well-known British genre writer, and he developed this noir detective story, and he brought with him the artwork from another famous artist called Edward Miller. So that's another branch to the tree. So then I had to find a way to get that branch to grow, to plant some seeds perhaps, and also perhaps there's some little twigs and branches at the end that haven't been developed yet, story-wise.
So it's a fascinating job you have incorporating them all.
I have to be across my own stories, the end state, where the story's going to eventually, but also these different tales. So Martin Livings, an Australian author, introduced a place to Refuge. He said, hey, I'd like to have a herring cannery factory. And I said, great, that fits in really well with my plans for Refuge. So let me plant some seeds for that. So the empath actually plays badminton with some of the guys that work in the cannery. But the cannery, actually, that story came afterwards. So we're threading these tales together in different ways.
So it gives it a sort of an eerie cohesion, but it's a misty, cohesion.
Misty. Yes. Yeah, and if you imagine this to be a TV series, which would be great one day, like an HBO blockbuster style thing.
Yes.
For me, one of the best things about watching these TV series is you see a character and you think, he or she was this one back there and they were doing that. Now I get what that reference was.
Now I understand.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So we're trying to do that with the Refuge Collection as well.
So what inspires you? What inspires you to, can it be anything?
For the stories, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be anything. In fact, I have probably too many ideas. I just don't have the time to write them all down.
Where do you think the ideas come from?
Life.
Just from life around you. You don't think sometimes they have another source?
This itself could be a horror story, right? Right here. You could have a knife behind the cushion there.
You never know.
The ultimate goal might be to turn this into a snuff movie for all I know, right? So,
yes.
So horror, the inspiration for any story can come from anywhere. I just think for me, I've just got a dark imagination.
Do you ever take your inspiration for the actual characters from real life? Because I'm wondering where Joe came from and if the hornets in his head are a sign of, are they a sign of extrasensory perception? The empath, does he have these special gifts?
So he has gifts. In fact, you'll learn more about that with the Empath's Tale Part 2 and Part 3. He does have some gifts, and one of them is the hornets, which he doesn't fully understand. And to me, the parallel there is the hornets that go around in my head that compel me to write. I've got all these ideas and all this buzzing around. I've just got to sit down and write it through.
Yes.
And for him, it's more of an indication that there's something unusual happening, something paranormal or supernatural is happening. Typically, it's bad, and it gives him a kind of early warning system, if you like.
Yes,
he doesn't
it's like his
fully
radar.
know that. That's right, yeah.
It's
His
like
spider sense, if you want.
But I have to say, the empath left me really, really wondering what's coming up for Joe. You know, whether he's going to find his wife.
Whether he wants to find his wife is another question that needs to be asked.
Yes, and there's been some sort of red herrings planted about his brother and things like that. It's just extraordinary. It's a mystery.
So his brother
More of a
probably
mystery.
to you at the moment seems like a real evil, nasty character, I hope.
Well, he seems pretty shiftless.
Right, yes,
He
that's
seems like a
good.
scammer,
That's
a rogue.
Good. That's good.
I don't know if I thought of him as evil. I just thought of him as would always take the easy way out.
Okay. Yeah.
The easy way, yes. But Joe's a hard character to get. Is he going to be your narrator? He's a hard.
He is the narrator, effectively, yes. Yeah.
Because he's a hard character to actually get a grip on, and I'm wondering if he's close to yourself.
Very much. He's narrating the tales, and he will actually stitch the stories together. So why did this happen? What's that person? What's
He's
the
trying to
need for
figure
this?
it out.
And he's figuring it all out in the same way that I am actually. So it's a parallel on me as the series editor, but me trying to figure out life as well. Is what's it all about? How did I end up in Australia?
Yeah.
Where am I going to?
What's next?
Yeah.
Why am I here?
And why? Yeah. Is there a purpose or function for me?
Yeah.
And what are these hornets doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, you picked up on that very well.
So do you have demons?
Yes, of course.
And do you have a...
Do you want one? I have many.
So do you have nightmares?
I wish I had nightmares. I think writing actually helps in
Exercise
kind
a
of catharsis
lot.
or exorcism for those.
Exercise a lot of your terrors, especially if you're writing horror. I think it's a place for us to put our fear and put our... I think that's the attraction of watching a horror film or reading a horror novel, because in many ways the world can be a horrible place, and you can get rid of some of your fear on...
Well, actually, for me, writing and painting and all these hobbies, if you like, and all these passions, a lot of it is to do with the fact that I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to watch the news. I don't want to read the newspapers.
Yes, 'cause...
and be confronted with all this real-world horror.
And
I'd
when
rather
it's real...
take glimpses of it and perhaps interpret that in some way that I can deal with, and perhaps the readers can deal with as well.
And maybe being creative with it gives you a feeling, or gives the writer a feeling of controlling their environment in some way, or just having a little bit of power.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in control, and sometimes I feel like, poor Joe, I'm throwing him under a bus again. And you feel like you have to, but I'm not sure where it comes from.
Yeah, I'm worried about Joe.
Yeah.
I'll be frank, I'm worried. And I thought
Don't
Perry...
be frank. Frank's not good. Sorry.
And I thought Perry was a goner.
So he is a goner in many ways, but sometimes
But not
you need to be gone in order to come back.
And blossom. In another
yeah.
form.
Like the tree. So he will blossom. He's got a long way to go, but he will blossom.
So for all our fascinated readers who'd love to get hold of the Refuge Collection, or even just some stories from it, they can find them.
So Smashwords is the place to go for the individual tales. They're all being published separately for charity, 99 cents each. And
it's a
Amazon
great cause.
is where the collections, and there'll be 6 of these due out probably by the time you watch this, six books, and 1 printed book will be available. Or you can just go to the refugecollection.com.
Fantastic. Well, it's a fantastic cause, and it's about time someone thought of it. I don't know why no one thought of it before, but well done, and good luck with all 6 volumes.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been great chatting.
Thanks, Steve. So thanks for joining us on Creatives on the Couch.
Thank you. You can play with my stress ball now if you want.